Now that I sit in the dark and think about all the events, it was such an horrible experience in 3 years of life journey. I could not believe my dumbness. She was absolutely not the person I had imagined in my mind. She betrayed me and left me scared for a long time to recover. It is such an awful truth of our society that a beautiful person gets to have so many choices. It takes them nothing to betray their loyal partner and jump on to next easy opportunity. Rebecca was no different. After all that I have done for her, the way she betrayed me was very out of the blue. It kept me thinking for a long time, and since after so much consideration, once I was sure that her betrayal was intentional and she was basically playing with me all the time, the way I took the revenge shook the grounds and left her with nothing. Story starts 2 years back when I joined one of the most popular news network as a junior editor. Rebecca was my senior and was such a beautiful person inside out. She instantly became my crush and I was all over her in no time. But since she was 2 years senior to me, I never had any courage to ask her out. I was shy in nature and she was much in constant being very vocal and outgoing. I always wanted to be with her and make her my friend. One day something unexpected happened. As I was at my work desk and had completed my work earlier, so I started sketching, since it was my passion and I was pretty much good at it. As she was passing by, she just stopped and was amazed by my skills, like how a junior editor can draw so well, to which I took it as a compliment and it made me very happy. The next day when I went to the office, she came out of the blue and was very happy about something and asked me if I would like to join her for a cup of tea. I could not believe my ears. I immediately agreed and we went to cafeteria. She said she has just got a pay raise and tomorrow will be her day off. So if I could, I would be comfortable teaching her how to draw. It would be so awesome. As she was very much interested in learning this skill on how to sketch but never actually had a time to go to any institute. This news made me very happy and I immediately agreed. Each day after work, we used to sit in an office and draw, and I used to teach her how to do live sketching. It was one of the most joyful moments of my life as my crush was sitting beside me and I was teaching her. She was such a lively person with such a beautiful energy that whenever she spoke, I was totally in awe and loved each single moment that was spent with her. As we started to meet regularly after work timings, we became good friends. She was such a light person that I simply could not resist her company as I used to think about her all day. Just within a couple of weeks, we started hanging out in various cafeterias and different historical locations. So after a couple of months, we merged together and our jobs as street journalists. Now we were mostly on the move, capturing the most fascinating pictures and writing the most captivating stories. We got pretty popular in the office and just after a month, we finally got married. I gave my 100% and my everything to this relationship. I was all over her. Maybe this was the reason that she left me because she might have started to assume that I was being pushy. Since I was overloving her, she started to take some space and most of time was not much responsive. At first I thought maybe she just needed a break from my over-attracting behavior, but she was basically feeling conflicted about what she had been living before and what she had intended in her mind to live afterwards. Things started to take a sharp turn as she became more snappy and distant. Most of the time after work, she was not much in the mood to hang out or do any activities together. She started to watch Netflix only. If I insisted on anything, she used to lash back, and if I left her there, it was a very disappointing thing to see that your partner is totally non-communicative. I had no freaking idea on how to get back together. Without wasting any time, I contacted my psychologist friend and told her everything that had exactly been happening. It's just been 3 months of our marriage that I have always been at her side. Maybe I'm pushing too much or being overly clingy, but she totally disagreed and she immediately said that since you are my friend, I'm just closing it to you. Otherwise, it might have been pretty hard for a normal person. She's basically having multiple affairs, and you were no exception to her quick hit and run. She's now kind of bound in a regard that she was never used to a long-term commitment, but now this relationship with you are troubling her since she was in a free world before you, and she intends to live like that onwards as well. Upon hearing all this, I was taken back pretty seriously and immediately disagreed, but whatever had been happening with her, this could never be the case. My psychologist just said give it some time and follow her around, and you will see the results by yourself. It was a painful thing to hear, and I did not give it much thought initially, but just after 2 weeks things started to show themselves as she wanted to switch her partner and wanted to go out for street journalism with one of her senior editors, and this was something that did not settle well with me. We had a huge fight that night because he was famous for being a playboy and being around with other girls. He was a cheater, and I did not want him around my wife. Yet she was very persistent. No matter what, she will be going out with him onwards, and this will be just a professional collab. Since I could not do much about it, I had no choice but to accept it as such. Now, what came next was as suspected. One day when I was following both, I was very shocked to see that there were no such thing as working together. They just right away went to his place, just right away. It broke my heart, and I immediately knew what had just started and what her intentions were. She was indeed just playing with me and had no such intentions of living in commitment, and it won't take that long for her to depart for good. I was not happy after it, so I planned to come up with something that could help me out in this situation. So I went back to my friend and shared this all with her, and she said I told you exactly this will happen as suspected. So I requested her to help me resolve this matter. She right away said the best way is to get divorced, but before giving, it's better to do it in bold manners. After going to everything, I came up with a plan to discuss it all with our chief editor, and as I requested to meet him, and we discussed this, and I shared it all with him, after showing him the evidence, he was very disappointed in her behavior, and was very sorry for my current condition, as he had known how much I was publicly affectionate with her, and I loved her, and how much I have sacrificed just for her. Finally, I requested to cover a cheating story so they can publish from my name, and I wanted to make it public. At first he hesitated, but since it was in need of time and it was a very hot popular topic in the magazine, I wanted to cover it all. So I wrote my whole story and sent it for the review, and he approved it. Very next day it was published with all the evidence and snaps and the whole cover story, and as she read it, she was baffled and horrified as the whole office was looking at her. Since it was all true, nothing could be done, and now everybody knew her character. As my innocence was proven, she was so embarrassed of this all, she simply left the company and resigned her position. Days later, she requested to meet me. I just declined as I was already pretty heartbroken and angry at the same time. She again insisted if I could meet her, so she wanted to share something. So very reluctantly I agreed, and we sat at a nearby cafe. She wanted to apologize and come back and start fresh. But I said it had been years and you have been doing this before me, and how can I trust you now that you won't be doing this again? Tell me one time that I have not been sincere to you or have not given my everything. I don't think anyone would love you with that much intensity as much as I have sacrificed myself for your existence. Yet I was just another option for you, and you have been playing with me all along. You were hunting for a better choice. I'm very disappointed in myself as well to love such a heartless girl, since it was expected of you. I was surprised to see tears in her eyes, and now she was practically begging for me to come back, because each person that she had spent time with was just passing time and was never invested in a proper relationship, and she admitted that she was fool enough to prioritize having fun over a loving relationship. She was very pushy now to return and wanted us to buy a home somewhere and start fresh. Suddenly, it struck me that she simply cannot sell our home as it was in my name, and half of the payment was hers, but all of it was not in writing. It was such a painful realization that she was again being materialistic and just wanted to secure her side of investment. Or why else would she bring such a topic so early on after what all happened? I felt pity for her mindset. I had no intentions to do any such thing, so I just said it would be better if we depart peacefully and never see each other again. This brought some form of comfort to my mind. Soon I started to work on myself and invest in learning new skills. Due to my honest work, I rose the rank, and just within a year, I was a senior editor. I was so proud of my hard work. So I started to do volunteer work at an NGO. There I found Anna, the most selfless and down-to-earth hardworking lady. I instantly knew that she's the one, as our temperaments were so alike and serving others was our main goal. One day as we were having a walk and we were sharing our thoughts, I told her my side of the story. She was also betrayed by her previous partner and wanted to start fresh herself. We were so much alike in many ways that it written for us to be together. We finally got married and adopted 2 kids. She brought comfort to my life and joy to my heart. I was so grateful to have her as my partner in my life.